My name is Todd Kassaw. I've been living here in Lufkin since 1990 with my wife Kim, who's in the back. Kim Kassaw, who is a special education coordinator at Lufkin ISD. We have 2 kids. Katie, who is a senior at Texas A&M. Tanner is a senior at Lufkin High School and will be a freshman at Texas A&M in the fall. I've practiced trial law here at Zaleski Law Firm for the last 23 years. I have been board certified in personal injury trial law since 1996, and I have been handling cases for businesses and individuals here throughout that time period. A variety of cases, over 1,800 court cases, in hundreds of courtrooms from here to Dallas, to Beaumont, to Texarkana, even in the Rio Grande Valley. A few years ago, I became a certified mediator, and I've been mediating cases for the last few years, helping people resolve the cases, helping attorneys and their clients resolve the cases before they have to go to trial. I've been very active in the community. Since I came here in 1990, I've been a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I've served on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce, including chairman of the board in 2009. I have been assistant scoutmaster for Troop 136 for the last 7 or 8 years. I've been the chairman of the Angelina County Youth Fair for the last 20 years. And by the way, Youth Fair starts next week and the sale is March 1st. I'll encourage y'all to be able to attend. I've also been an active member at First United Methodist Church. Thank you.
I am Joe Register, and I'm a candidate for the County Court-at-Law No. 1 of Angelina County, Texas. I am from Lufkin, Angelina County, Texas. I've lived here all my life except for 3 years I was at law school. I finished my undergraduate degree at Stephen F. Austin at South Texas College of Law for my Juris Doctorate degree. I've practiced law here at Angelina County for over 40 years. I am board certified by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization in Family Law, which less than 1% of lawyers in Texas have this honor. I am a former county attorney for Angelina County. I was a prosecutor in that position. I prosecuted the criminal cases and the misdemeanor type cases, which is the same court that I'm running for. I was the prosecutor in that court. I am a member of the Texas Academy of Family Law Specialists. I have served on the book committees as an appointee for the preparation and providing of books to young lawyers, which I was very honored to do. In family law, I am a 2010 president of the Angelina County Bar Association. I have been involved in multiple activities in the past. I started youth football in Angelina County in 1973, which we were very proud of that program. It went from 177 kids to probably 550 now. I am married. I am a Christian. We attend Dimmitt Avenue Baptist Church here in Angelina County. I'm married to Robin, and Robin's back there. Thank you, dear, for helping put all those signs up for church. I have 4 children. I have 2 daughters that are school teachers. One teaches at Diboll, one at Henderson. I have a son who's with me tonight. Thank you, son, for coming. He works in the energy field, and I have a younger son who is approximately 28 years of age and attends Arkansas Little Rock Law School. Thank you.
First question goes to you. What has been your greatest accomplishment in your legal career and in your personal life?
Well, first of all, I'm going to take the second part first. I met my wife and married her, and Robin, I love you very much for standing by me and doing the things that you do to help me in this election. She's been great, and that's probably one of the greatest things that anyone can have is a good, helpmate Christian lady. Probably one in the legal field is my passing of the board certification test in family law. 43 people took that test, 27 passed. That's why only 1% of us is certified. It allows me to do what I can do in the field of family law, which this court we are actually running for is a family law court. My opponent says that it's not, but if it quacks and it walks like a duck, it's a duck. It's a family law court because we handle 2/3, actually 100% of the family law cases. And the judge's time, about 2/3 of his trial time is family law cases. So my accomplishment in my certification was probably the best and greatest thing that I accomplished. Thank you.
Mr. Kassaw, same question to you. What's your greatest accomplishment in your legal career and personal life?
In my legal career, you know, I've represented a lot of people, a lot of businesses, a lot of individuals. There's no one case or thing that stands out. I am also board certified, and Mr. Register is right. That test is very difficult, and passing that test was a great accomplishment. But the one thing that I've tried to do as an attorney is to be remembered as a really good person who happened to be a lawyer. And so in terms of picking one accomplishment, I'm not sure that I could do that. I've tried to just be a good person who happened to be a lawyer, and when elected, I will be a good person who happens to be a judge. In my personal life, my greatest accomplishment is hands down, without question, being married to my wife for 25 years, and the fact that we have raised 2 kids who love the Lord and who are genuinely making an effort to be a disciple of Christ. Thank you.
You can leave your mic on, Mr. Kassaw. You're up again. Next question. What do you perceive as the greatest obstacles to justice?
You know, one of the greatest obstacles to justice is money and people's position in life. If you can afford the greatest lawyer in the country or the greatest lawyer in the state, then you have a better chance. And that's a huge obstacle for some folks. Some folks that can't even afford a lawyer may not get all the justice that they're entitled to. And so that's probably one of the greatest obstacles. And what I intend to do as judge to overcome that is treat every case as if it is the most important case at that moment. There's big cases, little cases, and lawyers will sit around and drink coffee and compare and say, oh, I got this big case coming up. But some of them, you know, this case is not very big. But the person that's standing there in front of the judge or in front of the jury or at the table, whether it be a criminal defendant or a civil case or a divorce case or a probate case, it doesn't matter. The person that's standing there, that is the most important case in the world. And I intend to treat every case as if it is the most important case at that moment. Thank you.
Mr. Register, same question. What do you perceive as the greatest obstacle to justice?
I'm not sure if money is necessarily one of those things that's an obstacle, but at least when you can hire a lawyer, it sure makes your case easier to take care of. And as long as you got a competent lawyer with you in court, then hopefully you can eliminate those obstacles. I think actually one of the obstacles that I face lots of times, and not necessarily in this county, don't get me wrong, is appearing in court and trying to convince my client that the judge is going to be fair in this case. Unfortunately, when the judge ruled in the case not following the law, it's real hard to tell your client, well, the judge ruled in this case, but you said that the law was on my side. And the problem is sometimes we have judges that are not qualified, not experienced in the field that they're actually holding court. And this is a big problem for litigants who think they're in court and that day is their day in court and they're going to be treated fair by that judge. Sometimes, folks, it just does not happen. So we as voters and actually try and should try to get the best people qualified, the best experienced judges that we can have, because when you handle these cases and these people, just like Todd said, this is their case, this is their day in court. And it's really hard to go out and tell that young lady that I'm sorry, but the judge is fixing to take your children away from you because of the problem you've got. So these things really need to be taken care of by a judge who has that experience, and sometimes, folks, it just doesn't take place. Thank you.
Mr. Register, another question for you.
Yes.
It's a three-part question. What is your vision for the future of the judicial system, and what changes would you advocate and why?
Well, the judicial system that I'm approaching this time and seeking election, that is a county court-at-law position. It is a family law court, and my position would be that we need to continue to develop that court. I think that court has a big job ahead of itself. It has a big job every day because of the amount of family law and the criminal cases that we have in it. Some of the things that I would probably do to assist that court in trying to help is, one, we have a lot of inmates from the jail. I propose this to the county attorney's office, and I think the sheriff's office needs to look at it. We need to consider video arraignments, where we don't have to take those inmates from the jail to the courthouse. It's for safety. It allows us to actually expedite what we're doing as judges and lawyers in trying to take care of that business. I believe that we need to handle more programs dealing with family violence. At this day's age, family violence is a major issue that we have for the judges to take care of. I believe that we need to try to make docket changes that streamline our court system. And I believe that if we can do that, that the function of the court would be more functional as to taking care of everyone's legal issues. Because again, when you come to court, those folks are there, they want their matters handled promptly, and the best way we can do that is try to have a functioning court with good judges.
Mr. Kassaw, same question. What is your vision for the future of our judicial system, and what changes would you advocate and why?
The one thing that I would like to see us do, especially in this county, is to expand, and we have good programs in our county with the drug court and various programs that we have here, and they're good. And we have 4 good judges in our county. We're very fortunate to have 4 good judges here. I would like to see that expanded so that we can affect more people, help more people. Now, don't get me wrong. If you break the law, if you violate the law, there must be consequences. There has to be consequences if you're not following the rules. But that does not mean that every person that doesn't follow the rules needs to go to jail. Some of these folks, especially young people, need to be on a better path. They need to be redirected. They need to be shown how they can live their life in a more productive way. And so I would like to see us expand that so that we can reach more young people and direct them in a more productive manner, and possibly go beyond just the drug court or just the other courts that we have that are in the evenings. There's not any reason why we can't do more of that. Given if we're within the budget, we can't just go crazy. But I would like to see us expand that so that we can benefit more people.
Thank you. Mr. Kassaw, another question for you. Do you believe judges have an obligation to improve public understanding of the courts? And if so, how would you carry out that obligation?
Well, yes, of course they do. And they do that by the manner in which they conduct themselves. They do that by the manner in which they live their life. They do that in the public. They represent the county. They represent that court. And they should abide by them. Well, first of all, they're required to abide by the laws of the state of Texas, by their judicial oath, by the laws of the state of Texas and the United States. And so, as an example, they can show that. But they can also educate people when they're in the courthouse, when they're there, by giving better explanation, better information, more information. It's not necessary that you just bang your gavel and say, case dismissed or denied. You can give some information and give an explanation in some instances and educate people in that fashion. But I think the absolute most effective way to educate folks about our judicial system is just by the way you conduct yourself in the courtroom and outside the courtroom.
The question again, Mr. Registrar, do judges have an obligation to improve public understanding of the courts? And if so, how would you carry out this obligation?
First of all, absolutely they do. First of all, I would try to get the knowledge to the public on what takes place in the courthouse. I'm telling you now, folks do not understand what the jury system is about. They don't understand jury service. They don't understand why they get called to the courthouse. The thing that needs to be done is, and I'd love to see a website set up by the County of Angelina that actually explains to those folks who actually are looking to go to the courthouse for services or for their matters to be taken care of before a jury or a judge. And that would be easily done. I think you could actually have some information included in that website that tells folks what misdemeanors are, what felonies are, what the punishment is. So the judge actually should be trying to help in some way let folks know what really happens at the Angelina County Courthouse. Also, another program I've enjoyed, and I've seen it happen for a number of years, the schools have school children that come to the courthouse. And those children are actually placed in the courtroom. They're allowed to ask the judge questions, and these youngsters, we're talking about sometimes they're 6th graders, 5th graders, high school students. So that's one thing that we can do as a judge to help better get the public to better understand what happens. It might be very elementary, but it's a start in trying to help folks understand what takes place at our courthouse. And also, I would like to see us provide to the juries some information as to what goes on in the courthouse in your selection. Sometimes juries are basically at loss. What am I doing here? What am I supposed to do? What's expected of me? If nothing else, a simple pamphlet in the letter to the jury telling them what jury service is all about. I think that is something that we can do as judges. Thank you.
This will be the final question. Mr. Registrar, you're up again. What would your rules of thumb be for carrying out justice as the judge of the County Court-at-Law No. 1?
Well, first of all, you got to have cases heard. You know, this is a working court, and you are entitled to a working judge. A judge needs to be there timely, and he needs to work his 8 hours every day. If he needs to work over, then justice has no time limit. You provide that time and service to the public. And if a judge is working and doing what he's supposed to do and tending to the business that he's there to do, then he will take care of his business. And when you have people come in before the court, I think you need to tell them exactly what's happening in this case and what will take place, and hold down. When I say hold down, that's to say when people come there for trials or litigation, and you need to control your courtroom, you need to control those litigants involved. At the same time, as a judge, you need to be courteous to the litigants, the attorneys, and respect to the judge is very important. It goes both ways between lawyers and judges. These are things that any judge should practice and do in their courtroom. And I look forward to taking this action, working with lawyers. I've been at this for 40 years. I believe I know every lawyer in town, and I think that I would be a good judge in working with these folks. Thank you.
Same question to you. What would your rules of thumb be for carrying out justice as the judge of the County Court-at-Law No. 1?
Well, first of all, you're in your judicial oath, you're required to uphold the laws of the state of Texas and the United States. In addition to that, I follow an Aggie Code of Honor because I'm a Fighting Texas Aggie graduate in 1987. Aggies do not lie, cheat, or steal, nor will they tolerate those who do. That will come into play in my courtroom. Additionally, the second most commandment that Jesus talked about, love your neighbor, that will come into play. In addition to that, I will handle these cases in a very calm, patient manner, but firm. I believe that I'm the only candidate that has the appropriate judicial temperament for this position. I have worked with all of the attorneys in this county. I have a very good working relationship with the attorneys in this county. And I think that's important. And I think that's a real indication of the type of judicial temperament and demeanor that I will bring to this courtroom. I have that. I have the calmness and the steady hand and the steady temper to handle what sometimes can be a fairly emotional situation in the courthouse. And that's why I